Molly Storms Through. It was the stormy season on the island of Sodor. That meant dark grey clouds in the sky, and more importantly, loud thunder and lightning. Molly didn't like thunder and lightning. It made her scared, and being a very sensitive engine, she didn't like that at all. One day, she was taking some trucks to the yard when she noticed a farmer walking up to her. "Emergency! Emergency!" he cried. "There is a storm coming, and some of the local farmers' sheep are stuck up a hill." Molly wanted to help the farmers. "Don't worry," she said. "I'll go and tell the Fat Controller." And she hurried away. When Molly arrived at the yard, Rosie and Neville were there, and so was the Fat Controller. Molly told them about the storm. "In that case," said the Fat Controller, "you, Rosie and Neville, are to go up to the hills and find those sheep. We don't want them getting drenched in the rain after all." "No, not at all," replied Neville. "That would never do," added Rosie. And the Fat Controller walked away. But just as he did that, there was a loud flash of lightning and roar of thunder. This made Molly jump. She was very scared of the thunder and lightning, but she didn't want to tell Rosie and Neville because she was afraid they might laugh at her. Rosie and Neville blew their whistles in bravery and hurried away to collect some vans to put the sheep in. Molly whistled too, but her whistle didn't sound very brave at all. Soon Neville, Rosie and Molly arrived at the area where the farmers were. Then there was another roar of thunder. Molly shook in surprise. She was very frightened. "I'll go up to the top of the hill," tooted Rosie happily, and she hurried away. "Wait for me, Rosie," called Neville. And they both hurried away to rescue the sheep. Molly got ready to go with them, but then she had second thoughts. "The thunder and lightning might happen again," she thought to herself, "and I don't want to scare myself again." "Come on, Molly," said her driver. "It's only a bit of lightning." But Molly didn't want it to happen again to her, so she ran backwards into a siding and hid. By the time Molly found a shed, it was already raining. Deep down, she hoped that Neville and Rosie were rescuing the sheep okay. Meanwhile, Rosie and Neville had just come down from the bottom of the hill with some sheep in their vans. When they came back, the farmers brought the sheep out and got them into a safe shelter so that they wouldn't be wet or get hurt. Then Rosie and Neville puffed away to get some more sheep. They didn't even notice Molly hiding in the shed. Molly sighed to herself. She wanted to help, but she was too scared. But later on, there was trouble. Rosie and Neville had both gone up the hill so many times, they both ran out of coal and water. "But there's still some sheep at the top of the hill," Rosie said sadly. "What are we going to do?" chuffed Neville. Molly realized this was all her fault. "I wanted to help Neville and Rosie," she thought to herself, "and I wanted to help those sheep. But I haven't helped any of them. I've let them all down." Then Molly decided that she had to come out of the shed. Slowly but surely, she puffed out. Rosie and Neville were quite surprised. "There you are, Molly," called Neville. "Did you collect any sheep?" "We didn't see you," replied Rosie. Molly decided to be honest. I was too scared of the thunder and lightning to go up the hill with you, she said sadly. So I hid in that shed and I watched you working. Oh, there's nothing to be frightened of, said Neville. It is a bit loud, but it's only a bit of thunder. Neville's right, added Rosie. I'm sure you'll get over it. But Molly wasn't so sure. But even so, she knew that she had to help Neville and Rosie, because they couldn't do it anymore. Suddenly, there was another flash of lightning and roar of thunder, but Molly hardly noticed it. She was too busy thinking about the sheep now, so she raced up the hill to rescue the sheep. Soon Molly was at the top of the hill, where the rest of the farmers were waiting. "I'll get these sheep down," she said. The farmers loaded the sheep into the vans, and Molly puffed back down the hill. There were hardly any flashes of lightning or roars of thunder now. Molly felt very proud of herself. "I guess I'm braver than I thought," she puffed to herself. Rosie and Neville were waiting at the bottom of the hill when Molly arrived. When she stopped, the farmers unloaded the sheep and got them in the shelter. Rosie and Neville were very happy. "Well done, Molly," called Rosie. "That was very useful indeed," added Neville. Suddenly there was another flash of lightning and roar of thunder. But Molly didn't care. She'd gotten over her fear now, and was now a very happy engine indeed.